Hello, and welcome everyone for this tutorial on the IPP module, especially on this video session in the ingestion module in IPP. This video is part of the series of video to learn how to use IPP on Python framework, the Python wrapper around the Adobe Experience Platform APIs. This video will mostly focus on the ingestion and will explain how ingestion work and the different guardrails on the Adobe Experience Platform ingestion. This video is done on personal project, so it's not completely reflecting the Adobe point of view, and it's only my personal opinion. I may um, simplify it or oversimplify it or omit some elements in order to record these videos to focus only on the IVP elements. So the ingestion module is pretty straightforward, and we will go through that in this video. There is a clear documentation here on the IPP GitHub reference, so you can have a look at it at any point in time to see how it actually works. So first we'll go through the data ingestion in IP, in Adobe Experience Platform, the IPP, and this goes for this element, the data ingestion in Adobe Experience Platform. So there's two ways to ingest data into Adobe Experience Platform. It's either a batch upload or an HTTP stream. And we have seen in the flow service video how to create an HTTP stream flow. So you will need to do that in order to use the HTTP stream, or we're going to do that together. And batch upload is the standalone process. In Adobe Experience Platform, you can set up to 256 megabyte of data to a max of 20 gigabyte per hour through that method. There is a large batch upload capability that can go more than 250 megabyte. In that case, the batch can go up to 1 gigabyte, I think. 100 gigabyte. But this large batch upload has been deprecated, so it's deprecated now, and you can still use it, but it may fail, and there is no current support for it. So I will recommend using that method only for small batches. If you want more, then I would recommend using the data connector that have been created. So you can either connect to an Azure Blob Storage, AWS S3 account, Google BigQuery, Bigtables, or any of those main cloud platform are available in Adobe Experience Platform. The HTTP stream can send data via a single request or batch of requests. That is not something everyone is aware of. So you can actually batch a number of requests in a single uh, request. So basically, it would more accurate to say more than one payload in one request. There is a limit of 1,500 requests per second when you load those data for union profile storage. But it can go up to 4 or even 5K, I think, 5,000 requests per second if you only ingest into data lake. So you don't need the data to be ingested in the profile and through the pipeline logic that we have discussed in the segmentation and also in the profile customer profile video. The recommended size is 10 kilobytes, especially for profile that is required to perform all of the updated attribute that needs to happen. And the max size is 1 megabyte per request. So even if you load multiple payload, I would recommend you to keep all of those payloads size combined to 1 megabyte, so it actually can be processed efficiently. So we'll go in IPP capability for batch ingestion. We'll see our capability to create a batch and ingest data and capability to use HTTP stream endpoint. For this element, of course, we're going to use the flow that we have created previously in one of our previous video. So I'm going to go to the training video. As usual, I have my folder, and I have my configuration that I've been set up here, IAPP underscore demo. You can see one of the first video to when I actually create all of this configuration and how to create that for connecting to Adobe Experience Platform API. And I will start by doing Shift and then right click and open in terminal. And here I will just do a Jupyter Lab, and this will open directly. we have the flow service. I will use that because I will need to have the capability of the HTTP stream. When we have created the flow service to HTTP stream, you see that we have the inlet or the endpoint ID that we can use for HTTP directly here. I'm going to create one here for ingestion, and I will rename that as ingestion demo. I will import IPP, and from IPP, I will import ingestion for the data ingestion part. I will load the production sandbox. So I will use the production sandbox. So in case you didn't know, there is a different sandbox capability in Adobe Experience Platform. I'm going to use only the production one for our recording. So I will import the config file. So I will do app.import, import, and then tab. It auto-completes automatically, and I can then use app.demo.json, which is my configuration. I need to finish. I can override this sandbox name by any of the name that is available. So I'm going to use the prod for now, and you don't have to do this if you already have in the configuration file the sandbox specified. Just doing this for the demo of doing it, and then I will save that into a variable so I can reuse that in any of the following instant I'm going to use, because for this particular video I'm going to use uh, different module as well, and I'll go that directly now. I'm going to use the catalog, and I'm going to use now from IPP import the catalog. And why I'm going to do that? Because I would like to know which dataset I want to use and which schema I'm going to use. And all of this is available in the catalog service. So I'm going to use catalog. Most of the time you have a class that is the same name than the module, and now I can specify the configuration you want to have. And in my case, I want to use the production. And then I can actually save the dataset, get the dataset with the S, so it retrieves all of the dataset elements. So I could either use the datasets here, but what I can do when I run once the get dataset, I can actually do data and get the ID of the dataset, such as this. This gives me a mapping table of all of the name with the ID. And I'm going to use data analyst. I think it's event like this. I'm just going to make sure. Yeah, it is like this, data analyst event. And this gives me the ID of the dataset. I want to have also the schema ref. And then this gives you also the version, but we don't care for that today. So again, could give the schema. So now I have the ID of the dataset I want to use and the schema I want to use. So that's interesting. I'm going to now use the sum. I will did a video on the simplify object manager to do that, so you can actually watch this video. You will see the usage of this right now, as I'm going to do a new payload using the sum, and it makes my life way easier to do it. You can actually also try to get from here the catalog. It's something I didn't specify in the catalog service, that you can actually get the observable schema. And what is an observable schema? The observable schema is the schema of the dataset that has been used. Because you define all of the field in a schema, this you can watch the video with the schema and relation to dataset. So in the what you're going to create as a dataset is basically based on the schema, and the schema define which field are going to be used. However, you may have more field than what you're currently using in your dataset, and in order to have the minimum amount of field that are being used, so not all of the schema field, but only the schema field that are being used, you can actually get the observable schema. And this you need a dataset. You can add a dataset info here in. I will do actually that. Append dataset info. I will set true, and this is going to be my data analyst. Data list. Oops. And this gives me a very large schema that you're going to see. That is not that easy to read. For actually making it more usable, you can actually use another class of the catalog module, which is called observable schema. And I'm going to create called ops for observable schema, or let's say ops data for observable. And this you can do catalog, observable schema manager, and here you can pass directly an observable schema dictionary, which is going to be this one. And here I can do that. And on this one, I can actually have a look now as to how this is being specified. You see all of this information are actually provided now. You see a device is being set up, or EMEA consulting underscore ID and so forth. So I'm going to create that in the SOM in a simple way. So it's going to be my payload, and my payload will be a SOM object. Again, if you want to know more about the SOM, watch the video regarding that. But here I'm going to do an assign capability, and I will do underscore ID. It's going to be my ID1. I'm going to add all of those elements directly like this. Yeah. Consulting. It's going to be a bit of time. Dot data analyst dot post title, and we're going to do IPP videos. Post title, post length will be actually, you see it's a string, so I'm going to do it 100 or 200 characters. I'm going to add a subcategory for the sake of it. IPP. Then I can add some additional things, such as the timestamp. For example, this is important for my information. So this needs a specific timestamp capability. So I'm going to actually add at the top from the time import that time. Use that. And here I would believe I can try to say that the time now. So format, I think is this thing. Yeah, exactly. We're going to do that. As an F string. And I think you need to have the Z at the end for Adobe Experience Platform. We're going to look at that later. So this is done. I'm going to add some additional things. So for example, the device is going to be type is going to be a brother. Else to put this here for doing some additional things. Timestamp is done. Web. web interaction. We can say link click. Value. Number is 1. What allows that to be that this is going to be my directly my payload. So we can send that payload directly via HTTP Stream, what we're going to do as of today. So I need to use the flow service endpoint and then also now use the ingestion. So let's do ingestion now. My ingestion will be ingestion. Data ingestion. So for once, one of the few instances where we actually not have the same name in the class than in the module. So I'm going to use the prod here. And my ingestion, you can see endpoint streaming. You can see which one it is. So it's always dcs.adobe.net. But what we are interested here, you can see is actually streaming reference. And this gives you an idea how you should look at your ingestion pipeline. And I can actually look at that now. My streaming data equals. And here you see that we need to have the reference of the schema. So we're going to get back and get the reference of the schema, which is here. And actually we can have go into that. Schema ref is going to be this. Dataset ID is going to be this one. I know we will also need to have the flow ID of somewhere. So I can actually look at my here at my flow. My flow ID was this one. Oh, sorry, misclick. And I need to also have the inlet ID for loading the data into HTTP. And this is available here. You see that we have this inlet ID. So I think I will have most of the element that I need to have. So now actually I can specify all of those things. There we know it's a schema ref. The version will put 1.0, doesn't matter. The org ID will need to be provided. I will do that in a moment. Set ID, create it at, we can actually do that time now. I think that will give us a timestamp. Timestamp. Yes, okay, we'll do that. Split dot and keep only the first part. Or we could have rounded up, or I'll create an integer out of it. I think maybe 1, 2. Is a way to do. Source name doesn't matter. You can add here any field that you want. So any source ID. In case you have multiple streaming into a single data set, you can then identify which source is actually the data coming from. Schema ref is also referenced here. So we're going to do that again. Adding here again the version 1.0. And here you see XDM entities, the whole XDM payload. So here, this element needs to be replaced by our payload. So what we can do, predict is going to completely transform the payload to a dictionary. I just need to the AMS org, and you can actually get that org ID by going to the connector and config. Will give us all of the information, and you can probably have here available IMS endpoint to do org ID, yeah, which was on the top. So that. Oh, disappeared. I can actually use this org ID like this. So now I have my full payload available, and then now I can use the inlet and say my ing, and you can see with the tab all of the things you can do, and you can stream message or stream messages in case you have multiple messages. And here I will stream the message. I need to specify the inlet ID, so I go directly to the inlet ID. Then the data I want to use, so it's going to be my streaming data, and afterwards I think it requires me the flow ID. You can actually say if you want the sync validation to happen, and I can say true, and you can see the return of the if the data has been received or not. So see up here validation status pass, and now I have uploaded a data to my dataset and loaded this data piece into this element. So now what I want to do is actually create a second ID, a second payload. So we're going to create a batch now. No, batch method. So it was the streaming method. And for the batch method, then it's fairly simple. In that case, I will create, you first need to create a new batch. So my new batch, let's call it like this. And I'm going to do my ingest and then create batch. And I'm going to show you what this new batch is about. So I'm creating a batch. I think I just need to specify the dataset ID. So actually dataset ID is already define which format we want to send. We're going to send a JSON format. Is it multi-line? No, we are only sending one line. So multi-line if you have multiple line in your JSON. So yeah, you have an array of JSON object. In our case, we will just send one. So we set it to false. If you want to enable the diagnostic, some partial ingestion percentage, and some tags you want to add to be specified for the setup. But for us, we'll stay like this. So we have creating a data set. Oh, I don't have enough access to create that. Let me resolve this. Also in the data set to create a batch. Let me add this element, and then I will come back to it due to label that I was preparing for some videos I was doing. So I fixed the label situation. So if you apply a label to a schema, I will do a video later about that. Then yeah, you may have some restriction applying into this. This is part of the privacy setup, and therefore you don't have access to everything you want. So I was just adding and taking care of those labels, and now I was able to create the dataset as I was explaining before. And then you see all of this information that have been automatically generated for me. You see all of the format that has been asking and so on. So now you have the batch, and what you can do is actually use this ID to say now you can upload a small file to it. So here you can specify the batch ID. So here we'll just select a new batch and specify the ID. And then the dataset ID. So dataset ID will be actually dataset ID. And then the file path in which you want to save it. So here we're going to do the demo. And the data that you want to load. So here in our case, we want to add my payload again to dict. So I have changed the underscore ID of this because Adobe Experience Platform automatically deduplicate if you are sending 2 times the same underscore ID on event-based data set. So in event-based schema, then if you have duplicated ID, then only the first one will be ingested, the second one will be rejected to avoid duplication. So I changed that. If you want, we can have a look. Just before. So here you see my ID is my ID2. The first one that I sent with the streaming was ID1. So I'll make sure that there won't be a duplication, even if the data are the same here, but due to the fact that the underscore ID is different, it will not be completely the same. So I will do that. And then you receive nothing, it's fine. And then actually the last part of it is actually you need to say that you are done because you can upload more than one file. Then you can say, okay, I'm finished. I won't send any other data to it. So actually, I need to specify which byte ID I want to close because you can do things in parallel with different batch IDs. So now I'm going to say my batch ID is here, it's done. And the cool thing about it, when here you see that I was handling a label into my elements, is now I can actually have a look into my dataset. This is very instant. And if you look into data analyst event dataset, then and I look at my dataset ID, which was MEZM. This one, no, not this one. This one, MEC1, you see record ingested 1, and you can actually look into this and see this record being ingested directly into this. When you send the data from streaming, you do not know the batch that have been created because it comes at the end of a flow, and the flow runs every 15 minutes. So it may be actually this one that has been run incorrectly, and yeah, and you can have a look into this only after 15 minutes after the ingestion, or roughly when the data is ingested in data lake. So before they are ingested, they are in the pipeline of ingestion. I hope that was helpful for you and have a good rest of the day. If you have any question, let me know in the comment. Have a great day. Bye.